Dog seeking shelter from Hurricane Irma shows up on their porch and finds a new home. When 2017's vicious Hurricane Irma closed in on the southeastern United States, millions were forced to scramble to find shelter. As if that wasn't bad enough, humans weren't the only ones looking for a safe place to weather the storm. Just take what happened when Florida Imgur user Am I a Wife or a Sword peeked at her front porch while preparing for the storm. Standing there was a stray, weak, and scruffy dog. Not knowing what else to do, she helped in the only way she knew how. Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos. As the imposing Hurricane Irma barreled towards the southeastern portion of the United States in September of 2017, just about everyone was left scrambling to evacuate or find shelter. Unfortunately, not everyone was able to do so. While some folks desperately tried to find other accommodations out of the way of the powerful storm surges, many residents simply hunkered down, determined to suffer the hurricane from the safety of their own homes. As Irma spun menacingly towards Florida, an Imgur user named Am I a Wife or a Sword was preparing her yard to weather the storm at home. When she looked across the street, though, she saw something that concerned her. This poor, scruffy dog. The obviously homeless dog was in desperate need of shelter. Despite this, she seemed a bit reluctant to approach a stranger. I called to her like I would any dog, and she cautiously walked over, even looked both ways before crossing the street. She's a smart cookie. Am I a Wife or a Sword continued in her post. Not surprisingly, the stray dog warmed right up once the Imgur user offered her some food and water. She scarfed it down with such ferocity, Am I a Wife or a Sword continued in her post. She went through 3 bowls of food and 2 cups of water before taking a breath, and each time I went back in the house, she waited patiently for me to come back out. Wanting to see if her previous owner was looking for her, the Imgur user posted a message on social media. Shortly thereafter, she received a response that informed her that the pup once had a loving family who had to give her up to another family when they fell on hard times. The second family, however, had to give her up as well. Sadly, it looked like they'd left her to fend for herself. The Imgur user brought the poor dog in and acquainted her with her dog and 2 cats. That's when I really got a good look at her. She was filthy and smelled to high heaven. Almost every bit of her fur was matted with dirt or feces. She wouldn't let me touch her ears, but I could see massive mats behind them that had to be so painful too, she wrote. After checking her paws, she found they'd been bleeding. So, Am I a Wife or a Sword attempted to give her a bath so she could get her nice and clean. This proved to be extremely difficult, as she was incredibly skittish. Eventually, though, the frightened pup allowed her matted fur to be clipped. She hated the noise but allowed me to cut away most of the mats, the Imgur user wrote in her post. I still couldn't go anywhere near her ears, though, even just with scissors. It took 4 hours of cutting and scrubbing. Am I a Wife or a Sword brought the poor dog, who she later learned was just about a year old, to the veterinarian as soon as she could. Luckily, it appeared that all of her scrapes and bruises were minor, and she was said to be in otherwise good health. Touched by her harrowing journey, the Imgur user has decided to offer the pooch a permanent spot in her own home. She's just so loving and grateful. She makes a perfect addition to our family. We named her Amaterasu, or Amy for short. She's already responding to Amy like she was born to it. It's heartbreaking to think that poor Amy had to go through so much in her first year of life. Luckily, it appears she's found a loving forever home now.